Hello and welcome to another World of Warplanes video with Org. And this one I'm going to show you a couple of replays in the I-16 early, and we're going to be kind of talking about the new multi-role fighter class and how it could be used. If you've seen my previous video on the I-16, I call it the I-16E, whatever. I had it set up as a very manoeuvrable interceptor. I used the 4 Shika's machine gun setup, which makes it very fast, very manoeuvrable with very good firepower, and it's essentially an aircraft that I love. And this is the setup I have in the first replay. It was just after patch 9.6 went live. And as you can see here, I'm diving in, killing enemies. See, look at that firepower. I mean, admittedly, I wasn't the only person shooting at that aircraft, but still, we killed it pretty quickly. Like I say, I've been experimenting a bit with putting rockets on these and using it as a more multi-role fighter, which is what you'll see in the next replay. So right now I'm kind of seeing a big massive enemy aircraft straight ahead of me, and I figure I have to get up over there. I was going for the Hawk 75M and I see the F3F, or F2F, sorry, is coming right, well not at me, but flying into me, so I figure that will do for a first target. And I stick on its tail, even though, well, apparently I can outmaneuver it, but I don't think that's actually true. Well, I managed to get the kill, but I have to go, well, almost all the way down to the deck to get it. So now, of course, I have to climb all the way back up. And the I-16 climbs alright for its tier, but it's still a pain and not ideal. Oh, and that was terrible shooting. Putting some shots in on the Bristol 133, but it's at kind of the maximum effective range of these machine guns. See an I-16E, which, as you know, is a very dangerous aircraft. And I'm going to try and come around and get it, but I'm actually on the brink of stalling here, so I don't have a lot of energy to use. There we go. Finally put some good shots in the I-16, but I'm stalling. It's kind of lucky that skewer wasn't a bit further away, because instead of killing me it just kind of did a loop around me. Back on the I-16E. Unfortunately they managed to get the kill on my ally. And here I break off. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking, but I decided the Hawk 75M was actually the bigger threat. Dodge the fire from the Bristol 133, but I don't see the I-16 anywhere, so I go up after the Hawk 75, and I'm guessing that's the I-16 on my tail. Yes it is. I loop round, go head on, but that little burst from it took most of my health. But I'm pretty confident I can outfly the Bristol 133 and the F2F, the Hawk 75M, sorry. And between them, shouldn't really have any issues, well, especially since they kind of seem to insist on turn fighting me. There's the Bristol 133 gone, and the Hawk 75M is dead. So we won. See 4 aircraft destroyed, and that just kind of showed off the maneuverability and the firepower of the I-16E. Its engine power is good, but not fantastic. Anyway, this was the one let's talk about where I've got it in my multi-role fighter setup, which is actually exactly the same, but just with 4 rockets. And the thing is, this aircraft's already so manoeuvrable that the fact that it's lost a little bit of turn time doesn't actually matter, because you can still outturn basically everything. And, I mean, yes, you also lose a bit of speed and whatever, but it doesn't actually matter that much at tier 3. People tend to like to turn fight you, which they usually lose. But the one thing I have noticed that's actually a pretty serious limitation in this setup is that although officially the rate of climb doesn't seem to have changed in the stats, it really feels like this aircraft struggles even more to climb than it did previously. But the way I've been using it is that I've been doing what you see me now. I'm flying above the friendly ground attack aircraft, providing an escort for it essentially, and then I go and engage enemy fighters when they show up, as they just have. And essentially I'm still manoeuvrable enough that I can kill these guys while lugging rockets around. And I use the rockets to take out enemy anti-aircraft guns, which means I can actually escort the ground attack aircraft into enemy territory. I mean, the only reason I actually have to do this is because most ground attack aircraft seem to ignore the AA guns. But anyway, got my first kill in A5M, which is dangerous because it can outturn me. I have an I-16E and a Focke-Wulf 57 in front of me, so I go over the I-16E because it's more of a threat to me. Since I can outmaneuver the Focke-Wulf 57 all day long, it's going to have a really hard time hitting me. Whereas the I-16 can outfly me. This one doesn't seem to be weighed down with rockets either, so I probably should get rid of it. And there's a second kill. Focke-Wulf's still up there, but I see a friendly Focke-Wulf with 2 fighters on its tail. Well, I can't go save it because it just died, but I can avenge it. See the I-15's coming around, but decided to fire off a rocket since it was on my way anyway. And do a bit of strafing just because I can. Now all that's left is that Focke-Wulf 57 and a TSH-3. And I see my friendly Hawk 75Ms under anti-aircraft fire from that transport ship. So I fire a rocket at it. In a minute, there we go. And now we don't have to worry about AA. And of course, this being a Tier 3 game, the Focke-Wulf 57 comes in turns fights with us. Which doesn't end at all well for me. Well, actually no, it does end very well for me, it doesn't work very well for it. I've still got 2 rockets left, so I fire them off at this warship. And they take off half of its health. So I could actually probably sink a battleship like that with if I fired all 4 of my rockets. Maybe it's probably a waste though, I'd rather take out the anti-aircraft guns. But anyway, now I've got to fly over to the TSH-3, and since we know it's in the opposite corner of the map, now would probably be a good time to talk about like these new multi-role fighters. Because like initially when I saw them, I wasn't actually very excited with the idea, because I played in beta where they had carrier-based fighters, which I thought were basically the same thing. And in beta there really wasn't any difference between the carrier-based fighters and the regular fighters. Whereas now I'm actually kind of liking this. Like, I get the impression that these new multi-role fighters... I mean, I know from reading the patch notes that they can carry things like rockets and bombs, and it doesn't have as big an impact on their manoeuvrability as it did previously, and as it would if they were carrying them on a regular fighter. So they're still kind of competitive as fighter aircraft while carrying rockets and bombs or whatever. And I also get the feeling, I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect that they've kind of had a bit of a buff against anti-aircraft guns, because it just doesn't seem that threatening anymore. I mean, it's also actually an advantage that these rockets can essentially outrange anti-aircraft guns, and you can destroy them quite easily before they will even start shooting at you. But like for aircraft like the I-16, which is a low altitude aircraft, it's actually a very effective niche role for it to fill. It's a low altitude escort for the TSH-3s and whatever. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how it develops in the future. Anyway, I've caught up with the TSH-3, and I pulled up there because you could tell it was going to drop a bomb. And I'm a bit cautious here because I can't actually remember how many bombs the TSH-3 carries. I suspect it's 2, but I'm thinking maybe it's 4. I actually don't know, I haven't gone and checked, I should, but I haven't. So I'm just trying to keep above 100 or so meters, or at least 50 meters, because I think that's the blast radius of their bombs. So as long as you're above 50 meters above the ground, you're safe from bombs, but I really want this kill. But I managed to get it. Take a bit of a risk there, we're getting a bit low, but I get the hat trick and the ace medal. As you can see there, 5 enemies damaged, and I killed all 5 of them, plus a bit of ground attack damage. I actually did the most damage to ground targets as well as most damage to aircraft, and had a 25% hit ratio, which at first I thought was because of the guns, but because of me shooting at ground targets, but no, it was actually just me shooting at aircraft. I was just very accurate that game. this is the last game I just wanted to show you. I just kind of included it because I thought the video was a bit short. It's kind of one of the small games that we've all been getting in the recent patch due to the matchmaking changes. So it's a 3v3. Our side is a AO-162, is it? And a Pegasus, whereas they've got another one of those German heavy fighters and a TSH-2, as well as a F3F. And I wasn't very optimistic at the start because our friendly heavy fighter is kind of running off a bit, and I'm not getting as much altitude as I'd like since I'm trying to keep up with it. Whereas our Pegasus looped all the way in the back, and because that's so slow, it's going to get left behind. So not very optimistic at this point in time. But then I see the F3F goes diving down just to lose all of its altitude. I figure it's one of the ones that carries a bomb, and the pilots decided that they really have to get rid of the bomb before anything else. Right here, I decide to go head on to try out my rocketing skills, and I miss, but well, I get the kill, but it probably wasn't worth it since I could have easily outmaneuvered that guy. I still haven't actually shot down an aircraft with the rocket yet. I do try, but I just haven't managed to do it. Anyway, we see the TSH-2, and I come in from about the perfect position, I reckon. I open up with my guns and just watch this guy's health. Nice easy kill, didn't even get the tail gun shooting at me. So that's 2 enemies killed. I've just got to wait. Oh, here's the heavy fighter. And again, I'm just not going head on with it because I don't want to encourage it to, well, go head on with me. But essentially, about this point, I strongly suspect the guy's AFK. Has been shot at and it's not doing anything, so yeah, that's an AFK pilot. So since the game's about to end, go fire off some of these rockets. One there, the last 2 can go over this one. I managed to get a ground target just before it finished. Well, I hope so. See that? Well, it's a nice and easy win. You actually get a fair bit of experience as well from these aircraft. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying playing it as a multi-role, just the rockets give you more flexibility. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.